Action.
Thank you, baby. Hi, YouTube fam. It's been a really long time. I've been in Mexico. I am officially unemployed, living in Mexico. My last day at the research institute that I worked at was December 8th, I think. And I flew out to California on the 13th with G. And we spent a few days there and then went to Michoacan to spend Christmas with my family. We did a bunch of shit there. And then we left on the 28th and arrived here in Ciudad de México. And so we've been here for a month. We are leaving tomorrow. We're gonna be going to Mérida, Yucatan. We're super excited about it. Just wanted to give an update on like how it's been being out here, being unemployed. So first of all, I got sick. I got sick for like 2 weeks. And in that sickness, I had like cold-like symptoms, but it was this horrible cough that I just like could not get over. Like it would keep me up at night, keep G up at night. It was fucking so horrendous. Then I got food poisoning like somewhere throughout that cough, which let me tell you, like with that fucking cough, bitch, I was like, I'm about to pee. And when I was having that food poisoning, I was like, I'm about to shit. Like, what the fuck? Like, I feel like the pollution is pretty significant. Like there are days where you just don't see the sky. Like today is kind of one of those days. You can see it, especially like when you're far from the city, you can see the pollution. The air quality isn't the greatest, which is what I think exacerbated my cough, because I'm not used to this air quality. I know that sounds super dumb and like privileged, but it's reality. I live in the Pacific Northwest, bitch. Like the air is crispy over there. It took me a while to get over that illness. And like my grandma called me at one point and she was like, ponte cebollas debajo de tus pies y luego cómete la cebolla. I was like, Grandma, I'm not gonna do that. But then she was like, y luego ve a la tienda and get yourself this medication. My G literally, Grandma was still on the phone with me and G went out to the pharmacy to get me this fucking medicine, and it worked. It like stopped my cough. I also really tired out here, and I don't know if that's the elevation, but I feel like we should have acclimated by now. But also we've done a shit ton of things the entire time that we've been out here. I think that's also part of why we are feeling so tired. At first I think I was trying to be really productive, and then I had a hard, well, okay, so let me take it back a little bit more. Leaving Penelope and Maggie was hard. Then we spent a bunch of time with family. If y'all know me, I love my family to death, but I love being alone more. It was really hard to just be around family for like a month, which is funny because when I was planning this trip, I was like, oh my God, I can't wait to spend time with my family. But like, I need silence to have my battery go up. So it was really hard to just be with family, around family all of December basically, because I had moved in with my parents in December. We left our apartment in late November, and then I moved in with my parents in December. I spent like up until I came here with them, and so just like a whole month of being around family, and it taught me a lot about myself. It always does. Ways to uphold my needs, because I feel with family I just like toss my needs out the window. I hang out with them because I feel like that's a form of connection, or I feel like it's something that they want from me. And then I end up just being really tired. Also, G had never been to Michoacan, so I felt the responsibility to show G Michoacan just because it's such a beautiful state. Family was around so they could kind of help us, like take us to different places. That also really exhausted me. I was really looking forward to not doing anything, and then it ended up being a thing where like we were just constantly doing something with family. And so then we come here to Ciudad de Mexico, and Ciudad de Mexico is huge. When I walk the streets of Ciudad de Mexico on a rush hour, I feel like I'm in a different dimension. Like there's so many people, there are so many noises, so many of my senses are turned on. I don't know, it's quite overwhelming. The city is so overwhelming. It's so big, it's so beautiful. I think with that, we felt like we needed to see a bunch of things out here, and so we have just been super busy. Like there's so many museums, there's so many pyramids, so much food to try, so many places to go, so many parks, there's just so many experiences that you can have in Ciudad de Mexico that it felt like, well, we have to do that, well, we have to do that, well, we have to do that, and then we ended up just being booked like all month long. And I think it was just even a few days ago that G and I sat down, we went to like a little coffee shop to have breakfast. That day we went to Bellas Artes, another museum. I was like, I don't even know if I want to go, and he was like, yeah dude, like we're both really tired. He said that he's been trying to make sure that I stay occupied, or like I don't look bored. I'm not bored, which is super sweet, but I'm like, yo, I love being bored. I don't know how to be bored is something that I've actually come to understand about myself out here, but I want to practice being bored more because I feel like it's necessary for my brain. It's been learning a lot about like what I need. I always learn on trips, right? But it's always like next time I'll do better about that, and I'm trying really hard to start implementing now because I'm gonna be on this trip for a minute and I need to rest. We have to rest. That means yes, there are gonna be a bunch of things that we're gonna be able to see at the new place that we visit. The remainder of this trip is definitely gonna be more beach relaxed vibes because the last couple of months have been pretty chaotic, I would say. I just really need to do what I was intended to do in the first place with this trip, which is to rest. I mean, it's been really fun learning about my history beyond my family's history, this country's history. It's also really opened my eyes about what it would mean or what it would look like if I actually lived here. I think he and I have talked about how he would love to live here. And I always like to like remind him like we are loving Mexico right now because we're not working. Like we're just living our best lives, living off of our savings. And we've been asking people about their life here, what they do, their work-life balance. It's always the same story around like we work a shit ton to make a little bit of money. It's really opened their eyes too because people are like, wow, you're doing this, like I wish I could do this. We went on a tour to the Judicial Supreme Court of Justice, I believe is what it was, and the security guard was just asking us questions like where were we from and how long we were here, and so we told him a little bit about our trip, and he was like, I wish I could do that. We're like, you know, if you save money, like here we are giving him our American experience, and he's like, well, here it's really hard to get a job, and so if you finally have a job, you don't want to lose it because you don't know if you'll be able to find another job. And I've got friends who are highly educated and aren't able to find work in the profession that they studied. That really opened up our eyes around our privilege because I feel like with Americans, when we're talking to other fellow Americans, it feels like a thing that you can achieve, like going on this trip, but that's not the reality of a lot of people. And so back to this whole experience of like, yeah, we love being in Mexico right now because we can afford to be in Mexico right now and we don't have to go to work. We've done a bunch of stuff. I've been really intentional about the experiences I've been having, what it's like to ride public transport here. In the metro, they give you the option of sitting with the general population. So if you're a woman, you're able to sit in the like front like cars where only women and children are allowed. And like even in the metro, like there's a bunch of signs. We've seen these signs all over that are like, be a good man, don't beat up your wife. A lot of billboards around femicidio, like the feminine homicides that have just skyrocketed here in Mexico City. We've also seen a couple protests. Saw protests for the families of the 43, the 43 students that were taken and then killed. And that's a big case in Mexico. I'll like put a link in the bio box if anybody is interested in that. Today when we went to go get coffee, there was a protest by medical professionals, doctors, nurses, and others who are asking for, they call it a base, like a base, but they basically just want like a secure job. And I guess in times of COVID, the president, who is currently the president, told them that he would provide that for them, but they're still waiting for that to happen. And so there was a protest about that. Yesterday there was a protest for the bicycle taxis. They were talking about like a competitive company that was taking them out of business and how they want to have some kind of negotiation. So like there's just been a bunch of like random things when we were in Puebla, because yeah, I forgot. Well, since being here in Mexico City, we did go to Puebla for a weekend to go see our friend Lucy, and that was really fun. She lives in the centro, like downtown. We went to Huejotzingo, and that's like a little pueblo in Puebla. They were initiating the Huejotzingo festival. Dude, that shit is so fucking cool. They basically dress up into different costumes and commemorate or like act out scenes from times Mexico's history, and it's like one of the biggest festivales, like, and we got to be there for the initiation weekend, which was really fucking dope. I got to put on a costume. We've done a bunch of cool stuff. I also went to go get my haircut. I went to a nail salon. Like, I've just been experiencing what it's like to live here, I guess, but even that feels like a lot of the things that we're doing are really cool. We also met a guy in Puebla who's actually a doctor here in Mexico City, and so he took us on a little hospital tour, which was really fucking dope. You know, working in a hospital, I wanted to see that. It's been really, really nice out here. It's really nice not to have to work, right? Like, I wish this experience upon everybody in my life, everybody in the world. Like, you all deserve to be not worry, not have to go to work for like a few months and like just live your best life. You know, I miss a lot of my old life. I call it. I mean, first of all, I miss my cats, Penelope and Margaret. I miss them. And then I miss my family, I miss my friends, I miss my old apartment, I miss my old routine. Not the one where I work, but the one where I'm off and I'm just like living my best life. Like, there are things I miss about life in Seattle, and it is kind of unstable. You can't really establish roots here. I thought it was gonna be easy for me to like go to the gym and like make friends and like get to know people, and like it isn't that easy, I guess. So Americans aren't everybody's favorite. I mean, everyone's been super respectful here, but I think it's very, like, we stick out. Even if we're dressed in chill clothes and we're just like vibing, like, we still stick out. I don't know what the fuck, I don't know if it's my fucking accent, but bitch, we stick out. And, and so everyone's always like treating us like tourists. Let me serve you, let me give you anything you want, let me sell you something for 3 times what it normally costs. There are things about the US that I miss that I haven't gotten because Mexico is just different, right? And it's allowed me to check in and like check myself too and be like, yo, like you need to humble yourself, girl. Like, I've definitely humbled down a little bit. Not to say that I was like bougie at back home, but like every time I come to Mexico, I'm just like, you have it real fucking good, so why are you complaining though? What's been hardest has been, my ego has definitely taken a hit in terms of my identity and like who I am in the world, because back home I am a person, right? I am somebody that went to college. I'm somebody that had a nice, secure, reliable job. I had a nice car that could take me anywhere. Like, I had a lot of privileges that, like, here, first of all, my Spanish is not that good, and I thought I was like, yo, girl that could fluently speak Spanish, but like coming here, I'm like, damn, like sometimes I don't understand what people are saying, and I literally have to ask G, like, can you tell me what that meant? Like, today we went to the protest with the doctors, like, she said we're not getting the bases that we wanted, and I was like, what the fuck is a base? And G was like, I don't know. We had to literally message our friend that lives in Puebla here in Mexico for her to tell us. Like, so, you know, that definitely hits your ego, where like you think you're this one person and that's who you identify as. That's the person that you are when you walk into a room, and then you come somewhere to like here, and that none of that matters. Like, who cares? Here you're an American. Here you are not that smart. Here you lack the vocabulary that you have when you speak in English. There are certain foods that you can't have. Just like a bunch of shit that's like, bruh, who are you? Who are you here? That kind of connects it back to like G's thing of like wanting to live here, where it's like back home I'm this whole ass independent ass baddie, but here like I don't even want to go outside at night because I'm scared. Back home I can get in my car at 10 p.m. and get somewhere. Here it's not like that. It has been interesting to experience that and to kind of like think about who I am. G's been talking to me a lot about who I can become, because I'm not gonna lie, like I thought my depression was gonna go away when I got here, and like I think in the beginning it was like, yay, I'm happy, it's fine. I didn't think it was gonna go away. Like I knew she was here to stay but I thought I was gonna have some relief. And there has been some days where I just like am really sad. And what's funny is that it usually is when I start the day on social media. And so I've done this little experiment where like I'm gonna check my social media at the end of the day instead of at the beginning of the day to set the mood for my day. I don't want social media, when I see on there, to set the mood for how I'm gonna feel. And it's been working. Like I don't check social media in the day, I only check it at night, just to like catch up on what's happening in Palestine and what's happening in the US. It's helped me with my depression a little bit, but I also think it has affected me that I haven't been exercising. But it goes back to like I don't feel great yet because of I was sick and I've just been really tired, and I'm just like trying to catch up my body to a place where I can feel that like, oh, I want to go work out. Another thing that's been kind of hard out here has just been like my eating disorder. I have struggled in the past with binge eating and restriction, and I definitely have body dysmorphia. Just been eating a lot of like street food and just like traditional Mexican dishes that are not within what I normally eat. And so like my views of food, my views of like what I can and can't eat out here are very distorted, and that's been very like eye-opening for me. Just like my eating and like diet mentality around food has definitely been triggered. And it's just another thing that I get to work through out here. I miss my yoga mat, bro, and I miss my air fryer. I miss my car. I miss my cat, bro. I miss Penelope so much. It's exhausting sometimes. I had a day where I literally watched a cat documentary because I miss Penelope so much, and I like cried multiple times that day. And that was like, what, 2 weeks ago? What else has been hard? Oh yeah, my codependency. Another little fun experience that has been triggered lately. My codependency has been invited back into the chat, and that's been fun to navigate. But G is such an incredibly supportive partner that, I mean, he's been helping me a lot when I'm going through some of these hard times. And it helps that he's done this before. He went to Mexico the year that I met him for every month, and I think he learned a lot about how to navigate this. I think we're learning a lot about each other. When you live with a partner, you get to like both go to work, and you get to see each other at the end of the day. But like right now, G and I are spending every waking moment together. And there are moments where that's hard. There have been moments where he's like come up here to this space, because right now we're in like an apartment complex, and so we're in a studio, like just one giant room, which I think has been also a little hard on like us being together all the time. But honestly, like for the most part, it's been really fun. Like it's been really fun to experience this with another person. I do see the benefit in kind of experiencing this on my own too. And so in March, G and I are gonna separate for 2 weeks so I can have a little alone time and he can have a little alone time in Japan. We'll see how that goes. I'm definitely gonna document how that experience has been. I've been capturing a lot of footage because I want to start a TikTok, because I feel like short content might be the way to go now. I've resisted for so long. So I haven't been capturing a lot of moments with my camera. I also just haven't been feeling inspired to. And honestly, I'm just respecting that and not forcing myself to record if I don't feel like I want to. But I did want to just document a little bit of what's been going on and how I've been feeling. I'm looking at like the notes that I wrote for this video because I did want to hit some points points. Another thing that I wanted to talk about is just how everybody's scared G and I about coming to Ciudad de Mexico and just Mexico in general. And I just want to say that, especially after talking to people out here and being open to their answer, has been helpful. So I've been asking people, because I had this misconception of Mexico and how it was really dangerous, and how there's a lot of femicide, how there's a lot of cartels, how there's a lot of opportunities of danger. Mexico City is a big city, and so it's just like any other big city where you're gonna find yourself in trouble if you aren't careful, because it's a big city. It's a little bit more safe to be in the bigger cities because the bigger cities have a lot more security. I had an idea of how Mexico was going to be, and I was honestly pretty scared about it. And G and I were really scared. Like, we brought 2 phones to have a second phone in case we got assaulted. I was definitely fucking scared to get on the metro, let me tell you. And I don't know if it's because I'm with him that I feel a little bit more secure. Mexico City is no more dangerous than any other big city that you've been in. I think I read somewhere the other day that this isn't the same city that it was like even 10 years ago. Like, there's been a lot of gentrification, actually, unfortunately. Because of that, there's just more security for people that aren't from here. Everywhere I go, I see police officers just in the area. I don't know. It feels more secure to have them around. I've felt safe the entire time that I've been here. So, but yeah, that was fucking annoying that like people really scared us. And I had someone say, like, you're no more scared about Mexico and your idea of Mexico than I am about in the US and the life of the US, right? Like, my cousin said, I'm scared that I'm gonna go to a fucking grocery store and get shot. Like, that's my fear. And I'm like, fucking valid, bro. That is the fear. That really put things in perspective. I mean, I have also heard from a lot of women though that are like, yeah, I don't go out at night. Like, that's just not an option for me. It's not an option for us. And I have definitely felt that, because even in the broad daylight, I was telling G the other day, I've never felt so sexualized than I do since I've been here. What else? I had this idea about Mexico's government, how it had been doing a lot of things for the community and it taking care of the elderly. Now that I've been here and I've been talking to the locals, like, everyone I've talked to so far has not had the best things to say about him, which has been really interesting, because they're like, you guys get a version of what he is like in the US, but the people that actually live here in Mexico experience something differently. That was really interesting for me, and to see it too, right? Because then I'm like, okay, I'm listening to what my mom has to say, because she watches the Mexican news every day from her home in the US, and I've got what people that live here are saying. And so, you know, my issue is the children that are working in the streets. Like, I mean, whatever president, like, you all can suck a dick until you get rid of that. And I know y'all can do it. There can exist a world in which children do not have to work in Mexico. I've also just learned a lot about myself and like how I react to things, how I've been navigating like a change of plans or a no plan type of mentality. I'm the kind of person that really needs to like plan their day so that their anxiety isn't heightened, and I feel like I've been challenging that a little bit being out here. You know, after our conversation G and I had a few days ago, we both feel like we're going to approach the next part of our trip differently, where there's gonna be an emphasis on rest. I'm looking forward to that. I realize that I have a hard time resting, but then I complain because I'm too fucking tired. So I feel like this video has been all over the place, and I thought I had structure, but I realized I didn't. I wanted to talk a little bit about what's been hard since I've been on this trip, you know, what I miss from back home, what I've learned, what I've done, what I've enjoyed, what I've not enjoyed. Like I said, just kind of put like a timestamp to this trip, because it's been 2 months. I've already experienced a lot. I've seen a lot since being out here. Not having an income has been stressful, and also not stressful. I think about what it means to find a new job back home, and I don't know, I feel like there's work no matter what you're looking for, like, I think I'll be okay. That's also just another thing that I have to work through. I do just want to comment, anytime food comes up in terms of like talking to people about what we've been eating and like just how we're foodies and we like to try different new foods, and people are always like, you're gonna get fat. And I'm always like, oh my God, I think that's very triggering. I don't love to hear that from people because it's triggering. And like, it's so funny, all the little things, all the little comments, all the little glances, all the fucking family time, bro. Let me tell you, I was fucking triggered. Couldn't be more grateful for this opportunity. Couldn't be more grateful for this view. Like, today I feel nostalgic a little bit because I do feel like we're experiencing one last full day in Mexico. Like, after this, I'm probably gonna start packing. Or we're in search of a little phone adapter for my tripod, so we might venture out closer to the centro just to see if I can find an adapter for it. Today feels nostalgic just because we're leaving tomorrow, and I'm excited. I'm very excited for Merida, but yeah, I really liked Mexico. I did like living here. I learned a lot. Some days were hard, some days were great. I don't know, when you are somewhere for a whole month, like, you do have a routine. Like, G and I have our favorite mercado that we go to. We've been exploring all of the different coffee shops around here. We have a park across the street that we walk through all the fucking time. Today we're gonna go eat tacos at one of our favorite taco shops. We've been drinking green juices. We created a little life out here, and I'm just like, damn, this was dope. I'm ready to leave though. The city's too fucking busy. I don't know how y'all do it. I feel like you gotta be a badass bitch to live in Mexico City. I'm just gonna say that. Cause damn, y'all are crazy out here. All right.